Hello! Today we're going to look at a thing called completing the square. And all that really means is we're going to express this quadratic expression in a different form. So in this form here. So what we're going to do, we've got to find the terms a and b. So we're going to set up the brackets. Got to find this space, or that term a, and we've also got to find b as well. Now the way I like to think about it is I'm going to isolate the x squared and the 4x term. I'm just going to leave the plus one out here until then. Not going to forget about it, but I'm just going to ignore that just now. So we've got to think what number would go in here such that if I expanded it, I would get 4x. Well, the number's plus 2. So let's just double check that at the side. So we're going to expand this the quick way. So square the first term, gives us x squared. Square the final term, 2 squared is plus 4. And the term that's often forgotten about is the middle term. You multiply the two terms together and double. So x multiplied by 2, 2x doubled, gives us the 4x. So as you can see, we do get the 4x. But if we compare this to up here, you can see that when we expand the x plus 2 squared, we get an additional plus 4. So to make this equal to that, we have to subtract the plus 4, or subtract the 4. So just tidying that up, subtract 4 plus 1, we get negative 3. So it's in our completed square form. A is plus 2 and b is negative 3. Right, I'm just going to do this again and just give you a different way of thinking about it. So again, isolate the x squared and x term, set up the brackets, put the plus 1 out there until the end. Now, the way I would think about this is we look at the term, or the coefficient of x. So that's 4. And what we're going to do is we're going to half that. So we get plus 2. Now if we go back to here, if you think about when you expand this, to get the 4x, we double the 2. So if we're going back the way into the squared format, the opposite of that is halving. So when we expand, we double. When we refactorize, I suppose you might call it, we half. So that's why we half the number in front of the x. And one other thing we've got to do, so that this expression equals that expression, we've got to take away this number squared. So we get exactly the same as above, and we end up with x plus 2 squared, subtract 3. Exactly the same as above. Let's just do one further example just to double check you're okay with that. So set up the brackets, squared plus 3, number term, just leave that until the end, just isolate that slightly. Look at the number in front of x, that's negative 6, half of that, negative 3, and then we subtract that number negative 3 all squared. X subtract negative 3 all squared. And then we've got to work this out, negative 3 squared, be careful your signs there, that's plus 9, so it's subtract 9 and plus 3. And then we're just going to tidy this up. So x subtract 3 all squared, subtract 6. Now if ever you're unsure that you've got this correct, you can always expand the brackets back out and do a bit of simplifying and check you get back up to your original answer. So there's always a way of checking if you're completing the square is correct. Goodbye and thanks for watching.